Wanted to do a video on the information we have on extraterrestrials, aliens, whatever you choose to call them. Here is Tom Montak's website, montak.net, and I've actually found that he's actually done a very nice breakdown of aliens, the different kinds of them. Um, I mean, in the age of information, uh, the biggest way to corrupt it is through disinformation. But I mean, even what is there over here, you got to take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, if you've already read David Icke, then you have some idea about what's happening. So on this website, if you go to Alien, he's actually done a very nice breakdown of the four factions, which is the Greys, the Mantids, the Nordics, and Reptilians. So if you actually go to his articles here, yeah, we are on the page now. So yeah, if you actually do this whole read, there's a lot of disinformation busting he's done, which is really helpful because finding information on the web is easy, but you have to use your sense of discernment and intuition to weed out the disinformation. I actually love his homepage and the way he introduces this whole thing. I'm just going to read it out. There is far more to this world than taught in our schools, shown in our media, or proclaimed by the church and state. Most of mankind lives in a hypnotic trance, taking to be reality what is instead a twisted simulacrum of reality, a collective dream in which values are inverted, lies are taken as truth, and tyranny is accepted as security. They enjoy their ignorance and cling tightly to the misery that gives them identity. Fortunately, some of us are born with spiritual immune systems that sooner or later give rejection to the illusory worldview grafted upon them from birth through social conditioning. They begin sensing that something is amiss and start looking for answers. Inner knowledge and anomalous outer experiences show them a side of reality others are oblivious to. And so begins the journey of awakening. Each step of the journey is made by following the heart instead of following the crowd and by choosing knowledge over ignorance. Knowledge is the key to unlocking our potential. It gives us the self determination, responsibility, and power necessary to cast off the chains of covert oppression. Knowledge is therefore the greatest protector, for it also gives us foresight to impeccably handle the challenges of life and, most importantly, to sidestep the traps on the path to awakening. The more you know of higher truths and apply what you know, the more you begin operating under higher laws that transcend the limitations of the lower. Here you will find some articles and resources that push the boundaries of fringe knowledge. So, yeah. There's also a really nice YouTube channel of his which you can follow. I already do. And there's also some free resources, Fringe Knowledge for Beginners by Montak. And let's go back to the alien thing. So I'm actually reading this part about the four main primary alien types, right? And we all know about reptilians thanks to David Icke and a lot of others, but there's here's some information on Greys, Mantids, and Nordics. And if you look at Indian history as well, I mean, not Indian history, but Indian history which was not written in the books, which we don't study in school. we do hear about the reptilians because the Nagas, Naga Devate is a reptilian. So, from what I also understand, but I could not find over here in Tom Montak's, is reptilians are, there are already aliens living among us. There are many living under the subterranean, in the subterranean earth. And most of them are 4D. We can't even see them even if they are right in front of us. So, uh, I mean, we can't even perceive them. That's why this is something which has always remained in the fringe and not pursued by anybody who takes, who's, yeah, it's not pursued by anybody because it seems so spooky, right? It seems so like woo woo. It doesn't seem real. I mean, what we see is what we think is real, but only when you realize how much we don't see do you realize that there's so much we don't see. So even if you go back to the Indian mythical stories of creatures, I mean, beings from the sky. All our gods came from the sky. All our gods had blue skin. Rama, Krishna, all of them had blue or maybe greenish skin. So they were probably the ones who came and gave us some knowledge. But there's always some kind of, I mean, I think if you just read this, you'll understand a lot of questions are answered really well. Like, you know, how can human minds comprehend alien motivations? Because if you know anything about us, and it's that we've been manipulated genetically and through many other ways by many races, by many kinds of ETs. So, I mean, we are not a product of one particular race, even though they'll claim that they are. I don't think we are. So, this is a really cool resource, and anyone who'd like to know more, especially in the time like this where there's an you know, imminent threat of a disclosure. I would say threat because I mean, the governments have known this for ages. Okay, I mean Roswell and since Roswell, I think they know the governments have known that. I don't know if all world governments are in it. They probably are. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not all leaders know about this. Maybe it's given in a need to know basis. So I mean, the biggest rule of war is know your enemy, and then, and if these guys are really our enemies, I mean, then it makes sense to read what Tom Montauk has to say. James Bartley is also a very good resource. He actually recommends some books and stuff, so I really recommend you just read this because I'm still reading this. He also cites why he's saying certain things, so you can do that. And yeah, this is really interesting. I'm gonna read this today, and I hope you do too. I'm gonna put the links to this in the description box so it's easy for you to access. So yeah, don't take my word. Don't believe a word I say. Don't believe a word anybody says. Uh, use your own sense of discernment. Use your own sense of, you have an inner compass. So you take the call as to what is true and what is not, because I'm nobody to do that. I only shape my reality, and I mean, even that is wrong because we are all shaping this reality together. But what I mean to say when I say I only shape my reality is there are certain things I'm convinced of which you may not be. So you don't need to disagree or agree on all the things which is shared here. But it's a really nice resource. And I don't want to give any more disinformation than already out there. So, yeah, dive in and enjoy this website. Bye.